Hello, this is Professor Sampson, and this video is going to be on long division. I'm going to show you how to do long division by hand, and then I'll show you how to do it two ways in the calculator. So we're going to look at 4 examples. The first one is going to be 8 into 895. Okay? By long division, of course, hopefully you should know that you find out how many times the 8 goes into itself. It goes into itself one time. 1 times 8 is 8. And you bring down the next number and you repeat the process. 1 times 8 is 8. You subtract. Bring down the 5. You have 15. How many times is 8 going to 15 without going over? Another 1, because 8 times 2 is 16, so that would be too much. So another 8, and then you subtract, and you get your final remainder. Now, this is the way you do division by hand, which is 7, and we usually put R7. Okay? So that's how you do long division by hand. There's no secret to it. If you want to do it that way, you can go about doing it that way. There is a way to do the same thing in a calculator, so we're going to go through 2 different methods to do it in a calculator. The first method to do it to use for the calculators, for those of you who may not have the upgraded edition in the TI-84 Plus, 2.55 is the operating system, but you have a 83 or an unupgraded 84. To do this, you would do the same thing in your calculator. You would take 895 divided by 8. So let me show you here. Okay, so you would take 895 and hit the division bar by 8. And you see the whole number is 111. So that's the whole number, the same whole number that we have here. Right? So we would write 111. Right? And to get the remainder, all right, we're going to subtract out that 111, leaving us with the decimal, minus 111. That's going to leave us with the decimal, which is already up there, 0.875. And as you can see from your original problem, the remainder is not 0.875. Once you do that, you're going to multiply your 0.875 by the denominator. In this case, my denominator is 8. I'm going to multiply that by 8, and then I'll get 7, and so that's my remainder 7. Alright? So that's one way. You can go through it that way. Another way to do it, if you have the upgrade, of course, is that there is a remainder function. So you still figure out how many times it goes into it. So you do 895 divided by 8, which of course gives you the 111. To get your remainder, you go into the remainder function by hitting the math button, right? Going over to num, all right, and then selecting option 0. All right. Once you do that, you're going to put in your 2 numbers, but you're going to use a comma between the 2 numbers instead of a division bar. So it would be 895, comma 8 that you're going to put in after you hit enter. So you see I have the remainder. I'm going to put 895, comma 8, and then it's going to give me my remainder of 7. Alright, like we had before. Alright, let's try another example of this long division. So you can work it with me. We're doing 739 divided by 6, and as you can see, make sure you put 739 in first. Of course we can do it by hand, right? 1 times 6, that's 6. 1, bring down the 3. Now 6 goes into 13 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. 1, and then you bring down your last 9, and now it goes into 19 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18, and then your remainder is 1. Alright, so that is the correct answer. We're going to follow through with our calculator again to get the same answer. Alright, you can take your 739 divided by 6. That's going to give you your 123 that you can put in my math lab in your top area here, 123. Alright, then it asks for a remainder. If you're going to do it, you can subtract out your 123. And then this time you're going to multiply it by 6 because 6 is your denominator. So times 6, and you get exactly what I got, remainder 1. Using the remainder function, the remainder feature, you do the same thing. You divide 739 divided by 6 and you'll get 123. And remember, the remainder feature only gives you the remainder. Right? It doesn't do the division. You have to do that first. But you still have to do 739, comma, 6. And then you're going to get remainder 1. So either way is okay. Okay. In my math lab, if you don't have a remainder, you still need to put 0 as your remainder. Let's do one more problem and make sure that we have finalized being able to do this. This next one is 7 divided by 942. Alright. 1 times 7 is 7. 9 minus 7 is 2. Bring down your 4. 3 times 7 is 21. Subtract. You have 3. Bring down your 2. And the closest we can get without going over is 4 times 7 is 28. And then we have our remainder of 4. Okay, so that's your remainder. Last time, if you want to do it in a calculator, you take 942 and you divide it by 7 and you get 134 without the end part. You can subtract out the 134, and this time you will have to multiply it by 7 because 7 is a denominator, times 7, and again we get remainder 4. Okay, with the remainder function you go math over to num, hit 0. That gives you the remainder function, 942, comma, 7, and then that's going to give you a remainder of 4. So that's how we divide in the calculator and also do it by hand using long division. There's something else that you need to remember from this section, that dividing by 0 is not an option. So if you have 5 over 0, this is undefined. Alright? If you have 0 over 5, that's 0. Students get that confused. If you put this in your calculator, you're going to get an error. If you put this in your calculator, you're going to get 0. So the easiest way to avoid getting it wrong or getting the error is just to put it into your calculator and then see which one it is. Simply because 5 divided by 0, the question is from the other ones, what times 5 will give me 0? Well, 0 times 5 will give me 0, right? So that's why my answer is 0. If 0 is your denominator, then you're asking the question, what times 0 will give me 5? There's nothing that exists that you can multiply by 0 to give you any number. So make sure that you don't get those incorrect. And this last problem that I have here, I'm going to do it in a calculator. It's 427 divided by 6. And I'm going to use my calculator. I'm not going to do it by hand this time. I'm just going to go 4427 divided by 6. And my whole number is going to be 737. Right? And my remainder, after I subtract out my 737, multiply it by the denominator, is going to be 5. And that concludes this video on how to do long division and also how to use your calculator to do long division.